And the Emmy
And
goes.
the Emmy goes to...
And the Emmy goes to...
MC Hammer.
The next reason I believe Our Flag Means Death deserves an Emmy is the phenomenal acting. I believe Our Flag is a character-driven story, which means the characters that are at the center of the story need to be vivid. So for the purposes of Our Flag, good acting means creating vivid characters. Creating vivid characters with acting means it's not enough for the actor to communicate the reactions and emotions of a character in a situation. The actor has to communicate reactions and emotions that are specific to that character. My favorite example of this in Our Flag is the Symphony No. 7 scene between Taika Waititi as Ed and Con O'Neill as Izzy. The reason it's such a good example of great acting creating vivid characters is that the two characters have a complicated relationship, and that informs the entire scene. Ed has hit rock bottom and asks Izzy to kill him. Izzy says no. That's a very emotional scene for any two characters in that situation, but importantly for demonstrating the incredible acting, both Waititi and O'Neill are able to communicate layers of emotions that are specific to the characters of Ed and Izzy. The scene starts with Ed, who shot Izzy and told the crew to kill him, finding Izzy, who has just had his injured leg amputated. O'Neill's facial expressions communicate so much about the emotions Izzy is going through here. In reacting to Ed implying he's here to kill Izzy, he could have just communicated fear. O'Neill does communicate this, but he also communicates more emotions that are informed by the particular relationship between the characters. This expression contains fear, but it is also layered with hurt. Look at O'Neill's furrowed eyebrows and softening of his eyes when he looks down and back up. Being shot by someone you love is more emotionally complicated than being shot. Here, Waititi has to communicate the pain Ed is in and the decision to ask Izzy to kill him. But while doing that, he communicates emotions that are particular to Ed. Ed hasn't directly killed someone since he became Blackbeard.
I mean, I have seen you maim some people.
Maiming's different. Love a good maim. But I always outsource the big job.
And that's probably why he asks Izzy to kill him instead of doing it himself. He's afraid, but trying to hide that fear. And that informs the performance. By keeping his jaw tense, Waititi communicates some of the apprehension Ed is feeling. During his dialogue,
I had a dream about you last night.
he adds a layer of sadness to that. When he flips the gun around, look at his eyes and his shoulder. There is a subtle release of tension and movement towards Izzy that turns that apprehension into resignation. When he faces Izzy, he's got an expression that has both the openness of suffering and the flatness of despair. In this moment, O'Neill could have just communicated relief that Ed's not here to kill him. And he does, but he also layers it with anger, and right at the end, he brings back that touch of sadness similar to the last shot. Izzy has been worried about Ed.
I'm worried about you.
And that history that is specific to the characters is informing the dynamic between them here.
I dreamt that you killed me.
I think this emotion is suffering, which makes sense for a character who understands what Ed is asking for. But what goes further and makes O'Neill's portrayal of Izzy so incredible is that it is layered with the love and loss we've seen Izzy look at Ed with before. And then watch O'Neill's mouth when Ed says,
Shot me right through the skull.
he wrinkles his nose slightly in a way that is so specific to the prickliness that is so important to Izzy's character.
Shot me right through the skull.
O'Neill layers sadness with the irony and contempt that are so foundational to Izzy.
Good for you.
It was good for me.
Again, we get the mingling of loss and love that is such a key part of Izzy's relationship with Ed. And then it melts into anguish. There are so many layers to Ed's emotions here as well. An important one is the flutter of fear in his eyes. It's an important emotion for Ed's character specifically because we can compare this to another time Ed thought he was going to die. That time he gave up and was mostly indifferent to the thought of dying. This time, Ed's afraid of dying. He's suffering, but he doesn't want to die. He wants to be loved, and he wants to be saved. Watch him clench his hand in fear, again communicating that particular mix of emotions that Ed is feeling. I love this moment. It's such a good portrayal of the intensity of being overwhelmed by emotion. There's pain and grief and despair. And this character is prickly. When he's completely overwhelmed, he's going to fall back onto anger and contempt. Here we can see the despair that Ed is drowning in, but the flutter of his eyelids and the subtle swallow add that layer of fear. He also flinches when Izzy says,
Eddie?
which is such a perfect little detail to convey the vulnerability of this moment and how the name Izzy calls him changes depending on the context of their relationship.
Ed? Ed, would you in here?
I serve Blackbeard, not Edward.
Hang on, Ed, Captain! Sit with me, Eddie.
I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, you scared? Eddie?
O'Neill could have stopped at just communicating anger and contempt in this moment, but he goes further and adds so much more. I think this first emotion is betrayal. He's been trying so hard to save Ed from himself.
No, Izzy, we're not doing this.
No, you're not doing this. So I must. You're my captain. And I was never going to stand by and let you destroy yourself for that swat. There he is. Blackbeard is himself again. I'm worried about you. We all are. The atmosphere on the ship is completely poisoned. But if we could all just maybe talk it through.
And now Ed's asking him to give up. And he's prickly and he's mad, but he's also a bit delirious with pain, which bleeds through all of that.
Go on, clean up your own fucking mess. I'm not doing it. I've been doing it all my fucking life.
So what does Ed do? He's just asked Izzy to kill him and braced for it, only to be told no. Izzy's not going to save him from this misery. He's disappointed, maybe a bit bitter, and he's resigned, which leaves Izzy alone with his loss and pain, Watch for the little huff that O'Neill does. It's heartbreaking. And for the final shot of the scene, we get so many layered emotions from the way Waititi moves and delivers the dialogue. Ed flinches at the gunshot and immediately expresses grief, resignation, loss, and a hint of guilt, and back to the flat despair that he's drowning in. Both O'Neill and Waititi are doing so much in this scene to communicate the full spectrum of emotional experience of their respective characters. It makes the characters so delightfully and heartbreakingly vivid. Here's the full scene uninterrupted.
Morning.
My leg.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's gone now. Up in leg heaven.
If you come to take the other one.
I think one's quite enough. I just popped down to say a proper goodbye. I had a dream about you last night. Take it.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off.
Hold
Fuck
it.
off.
Hold it. I dreamt that you killed me. You shot me right through the skull.
Good for you.
It was good for me. It's just what the doctor ordered.
Anyway, it wasn't even like that.
No, in my dream, I was standing just like this.
Oh, you scared, Eddie? Too scared to do it yourself, eh? Go on, clean up your own fucking mess. I'm not doing it. I've been doing it all my fucking life. Fuck off.
Farewell, old chum. I loved you best I could.
What incredible work. And this is just one scene. I haven't even touched on the acting that not only has the nuance and depth to communicate vivid characters, but also achieves this under technically difficult circumstances. Con O'Neill has a prop leg for episodes 4 to 8, and yet he integrates it seamlessly into Izzy's physical vocabulary and continues to deliver a fully realized character. Another breathtaking example of the compelling acting under extenuating circumstances is being underwater. This scene is a complicated emotional scene for Ed. He thinks he's unlovable and alone. And then
Okay, you know that night that I died?
Yeah.
You appeared to me.
Appeared?
Yeah.
Like a ghost.
No, like a mermaid. Or a merman. You were a mer person.
How'd I look?
Fantastic. You're orange and sparkly, and you sort of just appeared out of the darkness under the water. You saved my life.
Ed deciding not to die is a huge emotional moment to communicate. He has to go from struggling against the rope pulling him down to puzzlement to surprise and affection and apprehension. Relief and fondness. And finally, adoration. Did I mention this entire scene is underwater? It's such a beautiful scene. The technical challenge of it is almost invisible because of the incredible acting of both Waititi and Rhys Darby. The entire show is filled with such wonderful acting and engaging dynamics from the entire cast. It's truly a joy to watch. Every performance is genuinely delightful and brings these characters to life. And really, what more could you ask for? Thank you for watching. Stay earnest and stay silly.